Is this a new look that you have?
It's just me. Yeah.
You ever just like sit down to record something and realize it would be nice to have glasses? I truly believe we are living in a golden age for comedy. And by that I mean there are so many comedians, or at least people we expect to be comedians, who are exploring and reshaping how the impulse to laugh and construct jokes can be used to explore the details of the human experience and the very strange place our mediums for doing this and culture in general are right now. When Bo Burnham released Inside in 2021, I and probably most people who watched it felt like, wow, I have never seen something like that before. It used the carcass of live stand-up comedy and reflectively captured life in digitally imposed isolation in a way humanity never had to do before, and it was still funny. Bo Burnham's identity as a comedian was integral to the nature of the special and how he drew these themes out. It was proof that some of the most interesting things happening in media right now was within the world of comedy. And there's this one man who was quietly cooking up something new as well, his own comedically genreless opus on the horizon. Nathan Fielder is a strange man. He was most known for graduating from one of Canada's top business schools with really good grades. And of course, his TV show Nathan For You, where he helps small businesses attract customers and publicity with wild schemes that range from petty and kind of obnoxious to national incidents. So often, while watching Nathan For You, you can't help but ask, how does he come up with this? What is wrong with him? And of course, how much of this is real? Real quick, thank you for stopping by. I just wanted to panhandle for a second and say, if you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing. I do videos like this twice a month, and I'm really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think we're almost at 700, so if you want to get in on the ground floor here, the stocks will be worth billions in a little bit when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So just something to think about, mull it over, consider your investments. Thanks for being here. Let's go back to the video. There is a degree of implied artificiality to the events shown in any given episode, and it's clear Nathan is playing a character, hamming up his awkwardness or lack of awareness for comedic effect. But it's never really clear where the lines are exactly between artifice and reality, and because of the presentation of the show, it floats into the reality TV category of your brain, where you just stop thinking about it and take it for what it is, because it's more enjoyable that way. This is only so interesting in the case of Nathan For You, because the show and Nathan's presence has this uncanny ability to draw out uncomfortable and raw sides of human interaction. And I mean raw, as in confidence seems to slip away from anyone in this man's path. His flat, surface-level demeanor lures intentions and quirks into the spotlight to a painfully awkward degree, because he rarely gives anyone standing with him anything to work with or bounce off of. So they uncomfortably volunteer these things to fill the space. There's a strange flavor to his comedic approach. In a sense, it is self-deprecating, but rather than making himself the joke by tearing himself down or giving regular people something to react to by being comically egotistical like Conan O'Brien, for example, Nathan is comfortable letting his social awkwardness be the punchline, but the thing about it is, he showcases such a firm control over the situations and developments of what's in front of him that his cluelessness can still be the butt of the joke, while visibly being the puppet master of any given situation. The show is at its funniest for me when he feeds this back onto himself by drawing out situations in an attempt to obscure his own insecurity. Even going beyond conversation, he repeatedly orchestrates these events that go way out of the small scale of the show, from staging viral videos all the way to a national publicity stunt with the dumb Starbucks episode. Nathan For You ends with a special titled Finding Francis. It centers around his quest to help a Bill Gates impersonator who had previously been featured on the show to connect with an old love. And of course, the way Nathan goes about this is by concocting absurdly elaborate schemes to get information and somehow conveying a sense that this is all, perfectly rational. For most comedians, Finding Francis would have been their magnum opus. It's the individual comedic style of Nathan Fielder taken to a logical extreme, bound together by a deeply effective exploration of love and regret. Pulling so much out of the subject and purposefully providing an emotional reflection for himself, the character of Nathan Fielder, it honestly shouldn't be possible that he pulled something so emotionally resonant out of Nathan For You's foundation, and yet it feels so right to the show.
You see that balloon there? That's in the real bar.
Wow.
Following the emotionally captivating high of Finding Frances, years later, in 2022, Nathan debuted The Rehearsal. It follows on the reality show aspects of Nathan For You and continues to use delightfully strange everyday people, but Nathan's presence in this show is noticeably different from Nathan For You. Threads of that version of his character and similar themes carry over, but the character aspect feels even further obscured here, almost like we're just watching the guy Nathan Fielder. Nathan Fielder, the guy. Where The Rehearsal truly transcends from being a thoughtful follow-up to Nathan For You into a one-of-a-kind experience is the element of undefined artifice returning, but only this time it's so intrinsically baked into the very fabric of the show. It's in the presentation, the narrative, every little thing, from comedy to conversation to the edit is designed. Nathan Fielder is manipulating everything within the show itself as well as how it's being shown to us, because the way we, the audience, perceive Nathan within the show is something he's transparently shaping. I brought up Bo Burnham's Inside earlier, and like Inside, The Rehearsal's first season was shaped into what it was by the pandemic, forcing the season to bring itself down to a smaller scale, which helped cultivate the potency of its premise. Nathan For You relied on Nathan entering other people's lives and bringing his deadpan awkwardness and scheming with him. The Rehearsal, on the other hand, flips this to where everyone is entering Nathan's world, on the idea that he's gonna help them rehearse for their own lives. The show is so fascinating in its portrayal of interaction and the state of being that is socializing. You're watching this man manipulate the most mundane details of his interactions with these people and project his own need to detangle the unpredictability of human interaction in a way that makes sense to him. And throughout the show, just as he manipulates these scenarios, he seemingly applies the same construction on what he chooses to apply to himself, or what his takeaways may or may not be. The nature of the show stumbles into being so abstract in defining what is real, how much is honest, and even down to the ethical questions and how he conducts his social experiments. It's truly amazing watching him tell a well-constructed story on behavior, only for the episode to end on his narration taking away the most skewed or underhanded interpretation possible and portraying that as the reality and using it as the fuel for the next episode until the season ends in the depths of his own worst impulses. The Fielder Method is one of the craziest episodes of TV I have ever seen, just for how confidently it lays out a blatantly deranged and intrusive process to become someone else through performance from a man who is clearly looking deeply into how to get a grip on this stuff, but you don't know how much he actually, feels. Like, yes, we are watching the world in the show Nathan Fielder has created, but he portrays himself as being an alien within it, where even the most basic facets of human interaction is something to be observed and interpreted. It's actively trying to reverse engineer the human experience. Oh yeah, and it's still a comedy.
Oh. Door City over here.
Yes.
In between seasons of The Rehearsal, Nathan came out of nowhere with The Curse, a dramatic miniseries that he created with Benny Safdie, and I could do a whole video just on this show. It is indescribable. It's a show that is so deeply uncomfortable in every respect. None of the characters are good people. It's shot in this grainy, voyeuristic style. It's deeply grounded in cultural and social discomfort. Elation or a feeling of sincerity is perpetually elusive through the whole thing, and it's excruciating to watch, but it's like a car crash you can't look away from, and it's uplifted with an undercurrent of surrealism. I'm not the first to make this comparison, but in a lot of ways it does feel like the Twin Peaks for the 21st century. Well, besides the actual Twin Peaks for the 21st century. Nathan himself gives such a strange performance. You can see him acting, but it's the character of Asher you're seeing act. He's not well adjusted to anything. There's something deeply tragic about him for how incapable he is of getting a grip on anything. He's one of the most fascinating characters I've ever seen, just because observing him is so uncomfortable, and yet you want to dig into anything he does for a redeeming or even condemning quality so you know how to feel about what you're looking at. It's wild that The Curse is such a big break from Nathan Fielder's career up to that point, and it still feels so thematically in tune with what we expect from his work. not one of us, not a single one, expected what we got with season 2 of The Rehearsal. It was hard to imagine how he would expand on season 1, but this, beginning with a scheme to use rehearsing as a way to improve cockpit communication between pilots to prevent crashes, and ending up with a deep sidestepping of the self. I don't know how he gets from point A to point B. I watched every week as it got stranger, more personal and unhinged, and I don't get it. It made me realize that the effect Nathan Fielder has on others in his shows had translated over to the audience because he plays it so straight and continually affirms that the work he's doing is serious and rational, so your reaction to it becomes as essential to the experience as the content of the show itself. Because it does not, at any point, equip you with the tools or context to actually judge or anticipate what's happening. You just have to take Nathan at his word and let him pilot the thing. This season covers so much and has so many creative detours. The Paramount sections in episode 2 is genuinely one of the most hilarious and swing for the fences things I've ever seen in a show. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's gotta be the biggest idea this season. And then the next episode has legitimately the most baffling thing I have ever seen, as Nathan reenacts what he imagined Sully's life was like to better understand how he successfully landed a plane on the Hudson River. And he puts so much weight into Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, and it is the funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Season 2 of The Rehearsal is all that unreality that defines Nathan's work taken to such an extreme. The things he's doing in the show are crazier, and he transparently co-opts the flight safety premise into making everything about him. Because the Nathan within the show clearly needs to, when answers are unsatisfying or the behaviors brought on by his rehearsals aren't what he wants, it clearly unsettles him, so he pushes further and gets more involved. And the real magic trick here is, I get it. I kind of get it. I relate to too much of what Nathan, or how Nathan behaves in the show. This deep level of analyzing these situations or trying to lock in on some sort of rhythm or to have some sort of system for anticipation, where there must be some sort of clearly defined role to slip into. Because the hook will seem absurd to others, but very real and serious for you. Very real and serious for the Nathan Fielder of the show. It indirectly gets you to buy into the rest of Nathan's premise in this very underhanded and frankly genius way. From his massaging and manipulation of reality through his medium, his endless ability to come up with ideas that get the real world to play along with him without even realizing it. And ultimately, just for how far he goes for his comedy while playing it so straight, there is not one entertainer as much of a puppet master as Nathan Fielder is. It's scary, and I will watch anything he comes up with. And that's what I have to say. Thank you for watching. This is not a super specific deep dive, and I feel like if I ever did a full deep dive on any of the works I mentioned here, I might come up with, something slightly different than what I said here, but after The Rehearsal came out, I knew I had to talk about Nathan Fielder because he's just such a fascinating entertainer, and I've been a fan of him for years, and I feel like now was just the time to do that. But thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram. I do photography over there. Follow me on Letterboxd. I post everything I watch over there. I do videos on this channel twice a month. I'm currently mulling over bumping it up to 3 videos a month, but no promises there. It's just something I'm considering. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. Every little bit means a lot. And let me know in the comments, did you prefer season 1 or season 2 of The Rehearsal? Because personally, I don't know. I feel like they both have qualities and aspects to them that just blow my mind, and I think The Rehearsal season 2 is probably definitely the bigger and the bolder one. It wasn't restrained by the pandemic like season 1 was. But I do feel like season 1 has a kind of magic to it that I can't say season 2 felt the same. But like I said, they're different animals. So let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. How nebulous.